up, everyone? Hope you all had a nice, happy 4th of July. That holiday ends very, very shortly. But I'm going to not do anything too constructive, so I just want to get a little vlogging in and talk about a few things that have been going on and some things here and there. Resume the constructive stuff, the more constructive stuff when I resume the more constructive stuff everywhere else, too, not just on YouTube and stuff like that. So, this holiday pretty much got washed out. We've got Hurricane Arthur sashaying up the East Coast and just doing a little tease past New England, just close enough to us to bring over rain, and just enough rain to wash out this holiday. So, yeah, it's pretty much been a waste. I'm going to, basically what I've been doing is I've been treating this extra day off from work like it's a Saturday, taking it easy today, having today be my take it easy day, and then I'm actually going to try doing something a little constructive tomorrow. I actually want to check out some secondhand shops and flea markets around here, see what they have for retro games, because yeah, I've been kind of getting back into retro gaming as my allergies and indigestion fire up. I've kind of been getting back into retro gaming since getting Shovel Knight on Steam. For those of you who don't know what Shovel Knight is a tribute to 8-bit Nintendo games that is executed incredibly well. Yeah, it's a silly premise. You side-scroll platform as a knight with a shovel, as the name might suggest. But if you liked Nintendo games, if you liked 8-bit Nintendo games back in the day, you will love this game. It is, even though it isn't a technical period piece in that it does some things that like multi-level parallax scrolling and widescreen that the NES didn't do, it's so much like a Nintendo game, and a rather well done Nintendo game as well, that it's most certainly worth picking up. And it's 2D, so I mean it's not like it's all that much of an issue. I know that my netbook struggles with it, but I imagine the rest of my computers can probably handle Shovel Knight quite easily. And I think one of the reasons why my netbook struggled with Shovel Knight was because I was trying to play Shovel Knight on the netbook while downloading some Windows updates at the same time, so that might have thrown things off a bit. Or, well, you know, it could have, the thing only gets like a 200 something, I believe, on it only gets a 200 something on Nova Bench. So, for perspective's sake, Tuxedo usually is around the 1500 mark on Nova Bench, and it would be higher if I had a second graphics card. But yeah, so this Shovel Knight game has actually got me curious about playing some more retro games. I've even been firing up the Retro Duo with some Super Nintendo games and stuff, and I've ordered some retro controllers from ThinkGeek for any games that I have on PC where I want to play with something resembling a NES or a SNES controller, Shovel Knight being one of them. We'll take a look at that when those come in. They should be in sometime very early next week. So, yeah, I'm looking into some retro gaming, and I'm kind of curious to see what kind of stuff that I can fix up around here. I want to see what kind of stuff, there's a bunch of secondhand stores that have been opening up and even competing with each other. I don't know how that happened, but maybe it's just a side effect of the people getting chewed up and spit out like by the Great Recession, or being far enough away from a Walmart or a Target that people would love to have someplace local to shop that doesn't require driving to the next town. Because, yeah, we have some big box stores around here, but it's still woodsy enough that it's kind of spread out. It's a bit of a drive. You really need to plan a shopping trip instead of casually perusing these stores if you don't want to burn lots of $4 a gallon gas. So, I want to check out, there's a couple of secondhand stores that have been competing with each other recently, and there's a flea market or two around here that I haven't been to in a very long time, and they're open on the weekends during the middle of the day or so. So I'll see what kind of stuff they have, see if it's anything interesting, and maybe see if it's something I can skip buying firsthand and save money that way. So, or at least see what they have, and then just go back and look for bargains every so often, something to do, get out of the house, things like that. And, you know, I don't have this aversion to secondhand stores, because stuff, it's like the old El Cheapo wisdom, whatever you want to call it, proverb says, things become secondhand very shortly after you buy them firsthand. So, the minute something starts getting worn or scratched or something like that. But I've been curious, too. A lot of this interest in secondhand stuff for me is not just because of the crap that I've been through in the last couple of years, but I'm also curious about what kind of stuff I can fix up. I've been watching a couple of videos by folks like B Bishop PCM, and there's this channel called CraigsListGameFinds where a bunch of people where two guys go bargain hunting for secondhand video games, either to add to their own collection or to shine them up, fix them up, and sell them at higher prices. So they'll look for like the person at the flea market or having a yard sale is unloading games for like $1 a piece or something, and then fix them up and try to resell them or something. Or at least that's what I think they do. Some of the videos they make get me thinking that either they love redundancy in their games collection, or they're doing some fixing up and reselling, despite making fun of resellers. So, yeah. So I want to check out some secondhand stores around here and see what kind of stuff's around, and yeah, maybe start more retro gaming and stuff like that, because as much as the console companies may be liking emulation and stuff like that, I'm finding that there's a market still for retro stuff, and there's hobbyists out there fixing up old Nintendos and Super Nintendos and stuff like that. I still have my original Super Nintendo. I've got a Retro Duo, which I might just say heck with Famiclones after this. I'm not really so certain I want to get the Retron 5 because of all the issues. There's emulation issues and design issues with that Hyperkin box. Plus, it's what everybody wants, so just about everybody selling those is gouging the price up above the 140 MSRP. So what I'm thinking of doing is, if I get another Famiclone, it's probably going to be the Retrobit Super Retro Trio, which is a little bit less on the features, but still allows original controllers and some other stuff. But, you know, some of these Steam purchases that I've been buying lately haven't exactly been cutting-edge games, like playing Final Fantasy III, the port. It's basically a port of a port of a port. Final Fantasy III on Steam is a port of the Android port of the Nintendo DS remake of an NES game that never was released in America. So that game runs on my netbook perfectly. And the whole thing with Steam and PC gaming and account-based gaming like this has really got me thinking about scaling my games and stuff like that, and stop being so obsessed with playing pixels, as it were. At the very same time that I really shouldn't be spending a lot of money on AAA titles at $60 a pop, there's games that I didn't get to play on the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 1, older consoles and stuff that I could probably find for a couple bucks at a yard sale somewhere and play that. So I do have my MMO subscriptions on ice right now, and I've fired up Guild Wars 2 to play the new Living Story section, which is opening up what's left of the Maguma Jungle, which is now the Maguma Wastes. So it's actually adding stuff to the map in that game, so I've been doing some of that. What I'd like to eventually do with Guild Wars 2, though, is I'd like for Guild Wars 2 to really be the game that I play when I want to listen to something else. Previously, I've ground levels or something in World of Warcraft when listening to a podcast or something, but why not just ditch the subscription fee and just play Guild Wars 2? I've got characters to level in that game too, so why not just work on that? And plus, it's casual leveling. Guild Wars 2 is actually a friendlier game for casual leveling because you don't really have to move around the zones too much. You can just do heart quests and events and just listen to whatever you're going to do. See, that's the thing. There's two types of gaming that I'm finding that I'm doing these days. There's gaming where I want the experience, like I'm playing through a game and I'm trying to beat it, and I shut everything else off, and I want to. It's a game that I can beat, for example, like most console games. It's a game that I can beat, and I just play the game and experience it, kind of like normal video game playing. But then there's something unique to MMOs where the whole live another life thing, or get more powerful thing, or level alts or something. That element of the MMO world means that oftentimes I'm just leveling characters, and that's not exactly what I call very exciting, especially if I'm in the same zones I leveled all my other characters in. So usually what I'll do is I'll near mute the sound, or maybe I'll completely mute it, and I'll play the game with podcasts going in the background. It's how I listen to shows that I have on my mirror reader, and maybe even some YouTube vloggers as well. Or if there's a YouTuber who I want to see some of the video of what they're doing, and I don't want to shut everything off to watch a video, I'll 50-50 the screen with Guild Wars 2 on one side and YouTube on the other, and watch a YouTube video and play the game in windowed mode. But It's just a side effect of MMOs. I'm really trying to get away from the whole MMO thing because as much as it's cool to be this virtual persona, and in my case usually some kind of goody two-shoe paladin type character going around helping people out and stuff like that, it gets old. It may take a while for guys like me with really big abilities to focus on things, borderline like, I don't want to say OCD, but borderline obsessive personalities. We can really stay focused on one thing, which is something I've done very well for years, result of growing up in solitude, so to speak, out here in the middle of nowhere, with sometimes just passing the days playing Nintendo or doing stuff in the woods, or stuff where things wouldn't change very much. So I've become quite the kind of person to focus on something for a long period of time, sometimes to the point of it getting unhealthy, like the long reading sessions that I did in college because I wanted to graduate magna cum laude, and I earned my first pair of glasses doing that, so burned out my eyes from all that reading and lack of sleep. So yeah, so I'm trying to get away from the whole MMO thing and get back into games I can actually beat, because I've got plenty of games that I can actually beat, both physical and virtual copies of games. So I got games on the Wii that I'm playing on the Wii U now, playing through on the Wii U just to finish those up. And then there's the whole 100% completion thing where, you know, I just want to get 100% complete and everything. And you know, once you've played, when you play through the game for the first time, odds are you're not going to play it optimally, so to speak. You know, if you go back and try and make a YouTube Let's Play or do a speed run or something else, or go for 100% completion, that's the kind of thing you'd go for afterwards. I've kind of forgotten what it's like to just beat a game and be like, yay, I beat the game. Kind of like when I first played Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. I actually beat the game, zip right through and beat the game, and then went back and got a 96 on one, then a 95, so I could switch between spring and autumn at the main menu. So yeah, that's kind of something I've gotten away from when it comes to gaming. The monotony has really been wearing me out. Logging in, and even in World of Warcraft's case, one of the things that Blizzard is doing right now is they do cater to casual players, but they're catering to really casual players, as in, oh, come on, man, don't cancel your subscription, log in and do a heroic and get some meaningful progress in your character. And I'm thinking, that's like doing chores. That's not entertainment. So, kind of been getting away from the MMO model. May go back to it at some point, but the backlog of games that I have right now is largely due to MMOs. I don't buy all kinds of $5 Steam games every time there's a Steam sale that I never get around to playing. What we're talking about here is more like $5 PlayStation 2 games that actually looked interesting to me when I was perusing the bargain bins at GameStop or something, that I just haven't gotten around to playing or beating, something like that. Yeah, the game backlog is worthy of its own discussion, so maybe we'll do that in a separate vlog. And that's what's been going on. I want to check out some secondhand stores to see what kind of stuff they have, see what kind of old games they have. Can I fix some of them up? Maybe I could even get into fixing and reselling or something like that. Problem is, nobody has any money around here. We're looking at internet and shipping costs if I want to try doing this stuff online. Then I have to look at the market. And sometimes I wonder if I fixed up and resold old games, would that become like YouTube 2.0, where if you're not really big, you pretty much can't get any customers. So, I could give it a shot, but I got a feeling that if I want to do like local stuff for money on the side, that it'd be better if I just did service type stuff, like help people with their computers or something. So, that's what's going on with the secondhand stuff. As far as other stuff goes, I've also switched up some of the Xer games that I play. So I picked up Your Shape Fitness Evolve 2013 for the Wii U, because as much as it was nice to play My Fitness Coach with the gamepad, or the Wii U gamepad, as my second screen, so if I was doing push-ups or something, I could look down at the gamepad and see what Maya was doing instead of having to crick my neck looking up at the TV while I'm down on the floor. As much as that was fun, playing an old 4-3 game that was originally for the PS2 and Xbox isn't exactly something I really want to do on a Wii U. Yes, I do have the space for MFC, but my philosophy towards exercise has changed since 2008 as well. I'm a no pain, no gain kind of guy when it comes to exercise, because I firmly believe that when exercise gets too easy, that's when it plateaus out. When it gets too mundane, that's when you get bored with it. So my goal is to get as sore as possible in as many muscle groups as possible and retain that soreness as much as I can. So if I'm like hurting from a previous day or stiff from a previous day, let that rest for a bit and exercise something else. But the point is, exercise something. And that's what this game is really good for. It's not good for 30-minute comprehensive workouts. The workouts in this game are like 10 minutes or so. But you can select them very quickly on the Wii U gamepad. And you can do stuff like what I'm doing. I'm asking myself when I go to play this game, all right, tonight, what isn't sore? And those are the muscle groups that I focus on. So, and I also know that I traditionally don't make a lot of use of upper body and core muscles. Most of what I do is lower body stuff, like zipping around like a maniac at these warehouses, running up and down stairs, parking in the worst parking space when I go to stores like Target and stuff like that. So I've been really thinking of changing things up to keep things not only interesting but challenging. I was running into some problems with my fitness coach. As much as I love that game, the 30-minute comprehensive workouts got monotonous every single night. I ran into some problems with overtraining, and then the issues where if you don't give yourself enough time to recover, you have a hard time exercising and you can't make your goals anyways. And I also ran into issues where, depending on what Maya was doing on the screen, it would either be too easy or too hard. There were some exercises that weren't very hard. Mostly lower body stuff for me is really easy. And then there was some stuff where I just couldn't keep proper form, and the game had no way of tracking that. This game does. It utilizes the Wiimote, which is kind of in the middle between no tracking at all and what Kinect games can do. I understand there's this Nike game for the Xbox 360 that uses a Kinect that's really good at watching how you do the exercises and telling you to keep proper form. Of course, the Kinect being a camera, I can imagine that. But I don't really feel like getting an Xbox 360 just for one game and then having to squeeze a Kinect on top of my two Wii sensor bars on top of my TV with this sloped ceiling thing that we got going on here. So I'd have to move some furniture to get that to fit. So, yeah, pretty interesting game. It's got a varied amount of activities. It's got workouts for major muscle groups. It's got fighting workouts like cardio, kickboxing, and Zen. The Zen arena is one of my favorites because it's kind of like a mix of yoga and punches and stuff like that. So you do this like martial arts sumo stance as your rest position between the exercises. So it's interesting. There's some dance stuff in there too. Like there's this thing where you dance to the party rock anthem. So I may check out some of the dance games later on, like Just Dance or something like that. But you know, being the lard ass that I am, I have the grace of a pregnant moose. So I don't really think I'd be too good at a dance game. Plus, this whole I'm really rethinking the cardio that I do, because cardio is what my family has always done for exercise. They've tried to go running or jogging or running on a treadmill or something, and we don't really focus on building up muscle. And then we complain about metabolism problems because, well, muscle burns more energy than fat. So why not try to bulk up? And the strength will come in handy in other stuff that's not exercise, like shoveling snow in the winter. I think that my family, of course I get a lot of fit shaming from my family. My folks are still not happy about me going paleo, but amidst the fit shaming in my family, there's a bit of a problem with exercise consisting solely of knocking yourself out doing cardio, getting tired out and bored with it, and then not getting any results like, oh, I guess exercise isn't going to work for me, and giving up on the whole shebang. I want to keep things more interesting and more varied up and not do things the same way that my family has traditionally done them, which means resistance, resistance, resistance. And even subtle ways of adding resistance to stuff, like wearing my steel toes at work again. Here it is. Here's one. I haven't worn this sucker since not long after the warehouse fiasco, but I'm thinking of alternating in my steel-toed shoes because these things are heavy sons of guns. So it's the equivalent of strapping a 5-pound weight to the tip of your foot, which is then subject to torque when you're trying to do this as you walk. So it ends up being the equivalent of like more like a 10-pound weight on the end of your foot. But even stupid stuff like this, I just need more resistance stuff. I got a set of weights too. I got a set of weights, and see, another thing that's been messing me up is I've been thinking, well, if I can't do a half hour, 10 reps with barbells isn't going to cut it. And I'm thinking like my doctor, who's parroting the government's thing that was 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes of what? 30 minutes of cardio? I mean, my family has done 30 minutes of cardio on a daily basis before and gotten crappy results at best. Really, what we don't do in my family is resistance. And in some cases, my family's actually been aggressive towards the idea of resistance training. I mean, when I was in high school and I hadn't been working in warehouses and I had wimpy little chicken wing arms. I mean, I was very close to being a stick figure when I was like 14. I actually wanted to lift weights, get in shape and do resistance training. And my folks were like, no way, you'll drop the weights through the floor. Looking back, in terms of developing good habits as a young person, I really think that not letting me lift weights was one of the worst things my folks ever did. Seriously. Well, this game's got some resistance exercises, like varying types of very hard crunches if you do core. But I may have to augment some of the... when this type of stuff gets too easy, or some of the other exercises where you're doing this with your arms gets too easy, I may have to augment it with weighted bracelets or hand weights. Keep that hard, keep that nice and hard and resisty or something like that. And I'm still a big fan of Aldi's mixed vegetables. And you know what? These suckers have been price dropped now to 99 cents. 99 cents a bag. Ladies and gentlemen, dollar store healthy food. Voila! At Aldi in my neck of the woods. What do you get for your dollar? A lot more than you'll get from stuff in the a lot more than you will get from stuff in a grocery store, in a dollar store, that's for sure. Serving size, 3/4 cups, 4 servings per bag. So quad all of these numbers, which means your calories are only 100 calories. I see snack companies with a little tiny bag of chips bragging about 100 calories snack pack. The whole bag of these things is 100 calories. 100 calories. So this is probably better filler food than most bread is and stuff like that. 99 cents too. One bag, one meal. 100 calories. 100 calories. 4% of your day's sodium. Just 4. You're not going to get any of that from dollar store soup where the sodium's jacked through the roof. It's another thing we Americans eat too much of that makes us so fat is salt. We're like cows that are salt lick. We wonder where our hypertension comes from. Carbs, 4% for the entire bag. Dietary fiber, 8% per serving. 8, 16, 24, 32%. 32% of your fiber just from one of these. So if you have one of these with every single meal, 3 square meals a day, if you have one of these with 3 square meals a day, you get almost all your fiber just from that. You have a tiny amount of fiber to meet the daily guideline. See, vitamin A, 25%. One bag of these is a full day's worth of vitamin A. 35% vitamin C. So one bag of these is more than a day's worth of vitamin C. And you get some small amounts of calcium and iron. So 8% calcium, 8% iron. So you get a somewhat decent chunk of iron of that stuff from this too. But I mean, we got all this stuff in here. It's naturally gluten-free and it's naturally lactose-free. Why can't this be filler food instead of bread? Usually tasteless bread that either has to be spiced up with something when it's baked, or you have to add fat or sugar to make it taste like something. This tastes like something out of the bag because it tastes like carrots. And yet my folks think that I'm nuts for wanting to eat a lot of these things. It's probably the best cheap food I've ever had in my life. I can just imagine what kind of better shape would I be in if I had this kind of stuff in college. The food service was pushing carbs and starches right around the time that America was checking out Atkins en masse for the first time. Lovely. They were always crying about, overhead, costs, gotta watch costs, keep costs down, make a profit. Food service was always crying about making money. And yet, at the consumer level, not even talking bulk discounts or wholesale, 99 cents a bag for incredibly healthy vegetables that just have to be heated up. And I'm actually looking for a way to warm these up, to thaw these out without putting them in the microwave. I actually like the taste of fresh vegetables. I've had salad without the dressing before, and I've liked it. I'm kind of curious about paleo salad, where you make a bunch of vegetables at the start of the week and then add meat every single day and have that as your lunch. I'm gonna have to try that. I mean, I like me some good fresh vegetables, which is something I don't have in common with some of the fat folks in my family who can't stand veggies, but hey, you know. Yeah, well, I get fit shamed all over the place because I want to do things differently, but these things are awesome, and now they're 99 cents. I have zero excuse for not eating a ton of these things to get all the health benefits. Yeah, I was trying to do this, and I'm like, duh, a ton of these things. Yeah. So, I'm changing things up in terms of my attitude towards exercise, and I'm changing things up. If I really want to be cheap and save money, I may try just living off of just these and taking a vitamin every day. Except the big issue would be protein. If you don't eat enough protein, muscle mass becomes very hard to build. And muscle mass is the building block of metabolism. So, not focusing on muscle mass is something that my family is very, very guilty of, as we've driven ourselves nuts trying to run our lard asses around a track for 30 minutes on a regular basis. I do have a set of weights. Keep them within easy reach and lift them. And if I don't want it to be too difficult, do 10-pounders. Or use torque. Put the weights way out here or something to get exercise that way. Lots of stuff that I can be doing. So yeah, quite a bit of stuff going on. Didn't want to do anything too constructive because of the 4th of July, so hope you all didn't mind this little vloggy discussion here, but I'm going to check out some secondhand stores and see what kind of money can I save by fixing up secondhand stuff. Be really interesting. I don't have any snobs unless some of you folks want to be like that. I don't exactly have a bunch of snobs that would see me buying stuff from a thrift store or something and going, "Oh, you are so cheap." Oh. Hey, why not? Why pay for first-hand prices if you can get near that quality for a lot less? Or maybe I've just been watching too many cheapskate channels on here. Hope you all had a great 4th of July holiday, everybody. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, and for you folks living outside the United States, oh, we don't celebrate the 4th of July. We're not from America like you. It's Friday. Hope you had a nice TGIF day.